Well, hi there, Internet. My name's Court, and welcome to the Storyboard Stephen King Special Edition, a brief rundown of the various King properties we have coming at us in 2017. Regular episodes of the Storyboard go up every Friday, so be sure to subscribe so you'll always be in the know. There will be some mild spoilers in this video, but I promise not to ruin anything for you. The Dark Tower. Even casual fans know of The Dark Tower, King's sprawling, epic fantasy western series. The official synopsis reads, the gunslinger Roland Deschain roams an Old West-like landscape where the world has moved on, in pursuit of the man in black, also searching for the fabled Dark Tower in the hopes that reaching it will preserve his dying world. Now, I've only read the first book in the series, and it didn't do that much for me, as I'm not a huge fan of King's fantasy stuff. But I am curious to see the film. According to Bloody Disgusting, depending on box office success, the producers, including Brian Grazer and Ron Howard, are still planning to continue the franchise with more theatrical films and possibly a spin-off television series. The film will be directed by Nikolai Arkel, and stars Idris Elba as Roland and Matthew McConaughey as the Man in Black. The movie drops on August 4th, and considering how soon that is, we can likely expect a trailer any day now. Castle Rock. 2 months ago, J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot dropped a teaser for a new show called Castle Rock. It gave us very little information, but made it clear that the show takes place in the Stephen King universe. As news begins to trickle out, we now know that one half of Kevin Smith's show Fat Man on Batman, Mark Bernardin, will be a writer on the show. Here are some of his thoughts.
The idea, at least, is put forth in the
Give
trailer.
a single.
In the trailer that dropped about a month ago, I want to say. I think so.
It was right before I went to do Supergirl.
Yeah. The show Castle Rock is set in the fictional town that Stephen King created that is the sort of nexus and homing beacon for all of the horrible things that happen in the Stephen King world. So 10 episodes straight to series on Hulu.
The series will be produced by Bad Robot and distributed by Hulu. For me, this is good news, as that team-up previously adapted King's 11/22/63, which was a tremendously faithful take on the novel, and aside from a few missteps, was actually really good. No release date as of yet. Looking forward to it. Finally, here's what J.J. Abrams had to say.
Oh yeah, we're doing this show called Castle Rock.
No, I know Castle Rock.
Well, Castle Rock is this town that he made famous in all these different books.
That's right.
And these two writers, Dustin Thomason and Sam Shaw, came up with this incredibly cool, terrifying, weird, funny idea of a series, new story, that takes place in this town.
Unpacking that, the most interesting thing that he says, almost as an aside, is that it will be a new story. I like that angle. It'll take place in the Stephen King universe, but won't be beholden to any particular story. I'm in. It. Warner Brothers and New Line released the first trailer for It 3 weeks ago, and Entertainment Weekly reports that the trailer scored 197 million views in 24 hours, breaking the all-time record for most trailer views in a single day. Suffice it to say, people are excited, and rightly so. It is a terrifically disturbing novel, and the 1990 ABC miniseries failed to do the book justice. The film is going for a hard R rating, as it should, and is directed by Andy Muschietti. It stars Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise the Dancing Clown, and Stranger Things' Finn Wolfhard as Richie Tozier. Taking place in the fictional town of Derry, Maine, the story concerns the Losers Club, a group of misfit children and later adults who band together to attempt to destroy It, a malevolent force which returns to Derry every 27 years or so to feast on the children of the town. While the novel tells the story of the children in the 50s and their adult counterparts returning to Derry to battle It again in the 80s concurrently, this film is the first part of 2 planned films. It will focus solely on the kids' story, moving it up into the 80s, and assuming that the film is successful, which I think is a safe bet, the sequel will be about the adults and will take place in 2016. King himself has seen a rough cut of the film and took to Twitter to voice his opinion, writing, quote, Andy Muschietti's remake of It, actually it's part 1, The Losers Club, succeeds beyond my expectations. Relax, wait, and enjoy, end quote. I did a trailer reaction when the clip was released, as well as a rant about why casting a young actor as Pennywise was the right call, and I'll leave links in the description if you'd like to check them out. The Mist. Spike TV is creating a serialized version of the King novella, and I question its necessity. While it's pretty good, The Mist is not amongst my favorite of King's, and we already got an excellent film from Frank Darabont only 10 years ago. And I would argue that the film was better than the story. A group of people get marooned in a grocery store when a thick mist covers the town of Bridgeton, Maine, bringing with it horrible and terrifying creatures. Those stuck in the store fight to survive while a religious zealot starts preaching about end times, turning the survivors against one another. IMDb lists this show as having 10 episodes, but it's unclear whether it'll be a mini-series or an ongoing program. I'm hoping for a mini-series, as adapting a novel into a TV show is a loaded die. Books are finite. They start, they end. With TV, you never know. It could be canceled halfway through the first season or drag on for years, potentially outlasting the narrative. Looking at you, Under the Dome. #Blunder the Dome. Geralds Game. I remember reading 3 or 4 years ago that there was a film adaptation of Gerald's Game in the works, and then for the longest time, nothing. I was so excited, as this is probably my favorite of King's sort of B-level books, but I was also nonplussed. How in the hell does one make a movie out of this book? Why? Well, let's discuss the premise, shall we? Don't worry, most of what I'm going to tell you happens in the first 10 pages of a really long book. Jesse and Gerald Burlingame are a middle-aged couple trying to spice up their sex life with some bondage play. One afternoon, they decide to head to their cabin in the woods to get their freak on, and don't bother telling anyone where they're going. Gerald handcuffs Jesse to the bed, but quickly she decides she isn't feeling it and tells him she just wants to have normal sex. He plays it off as though he believes she's playing victim for the sake of the game and the fantasy, and moves forward anyway. She kicks him in the gut and kicks him in the groin, and he drops dead of a heart attack. Now Jessie is alone, cuffed to the bed, and the entire novel involves her grappling with inner demons while she tries to escape and starts going mad. It's a tense, claustrophobic, and fascinating character study, but I can't imagine how it could play out on screen. Still, I'm very curious to see it. As per King's Twitter, quote, "Saw a rough cut of Mike Flanagan's Gerald's Game yesterday. Horrifying, hypnotic, terrific. It's gonna freak you out." End quote. This film is written and directed by Mike Flanagan, director of Ouija, Origin of Evil, and Oculus, which I enjoyed, and the flick will be released on Netflix at a date that is yet to be decided. Carla Gugino and my fellow Canadian Bruce Greenwood star as Jesse and Gerald respectively. Mr. Mercedes. Mr. Mercedes is the first novel in the unofficially titled Bill Hodges trilogy, followed by Finders Keepers and End of Watch. A hard-boiled detective novel, the story recounts the mass murder perpetrated by a man the media dubs the Mercedes Killer, who drives his car into a throng of people lined up for a job fair one early rainy morning. And Detective Bill Hodges, who will be played by Brendan Gleeson, a perfect casting if you ask me, who then starts receiving taunting letters from Mr. Mercedes years after the case went cold. The show will be produced by the Audience Network and, according to IMDb, will feature 10 episodes. It is unclear if the series will tell the entire trilogy story or just that of the first book, but considering that it's only 10 episodes, I would guess that it will be the latter. Sleeping Beauties. Sleeping Beauties is a forthcoming novel co-written by King and his younger son, Owen King. The book will be released in late September, and the synopsis reads, "In a future so real and near it might be now, something happens when women go to sleep. They become shrouded in a cocoon-like gaze. If they are awakened, if the gauze wrapping their bodies is disturbed or violated, the women become feral and spectacularly violent, and while they sleep, they go to another place." I'm always up for a new King book, and while I have yet to read anything by his son Owen, I'll absolutely be checking this out as a late birthday present to myself because I'm a super fan. See? And that's the Storyboard Stephen King Special Edition. What do you think of these stories? Which of these properties are you most excited about? Whatever your thoughts, hit the comments below and let's discuss. If you enjoyed the Storyboard, please like and share this video, as it totally helps me to build this channel. And you can subscribe by clicking the Court Shake logo at the bottom right of your screen, which should be popping up anytime now. New regular episodes of the Storyboard every Friday. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.